Hey, beloved. Hey, people of God. This is Pastor Steve Cassell, your pastor for a few minutes, and also Steve Cassell of Steve Cassell Ministries. And so I wanted to take a moment to talk to you, to encourage you, to give you a little revelation, actually a huge revelation if you're willing to receive it. I want to talk to you today about divine destiny, This is literally one of the core messages of my life. And the reason this is so impactful and so powerful is because I got a deep revelation of these working together. So firstly, let me define divine destiny. Divine destiny is your overall absolute purpose in life. Divine means God. It means the creator. So you were created with a purpose, for a purpose, by a God of purpose. You didn't just happen. You weren't a mistake. I don't care what your parents said. I don't care what your grandparents said. You were not a mistake. God absolutely knew you were coming, and he absolutely entwined into your soul, into your heart, a destiny, a purpose that you have, that you need to fulfill. And then, so that's divine. And then destiny, my definition of destiny is the ultimate overall, at the end, accomplished mission that God has placed in your life and in your heart. And so let me kind of define this in Steve Cassell-ism. And what I mean by that is, here's how you know, and here's how you can apply a target to that thing. So if you get to the absolute end of your life, you're on your deathbed or whatever that is, I believe I'm going out as a martyr, but you get to the very end and you look back, you reflect back over your entire life and you say, I did it. I am going to meet Jesus as a person fulfilled, as a person who I believe that I've accomplished to the best of my ability what God has created me, literally entwined into my being, what he has purposed me to accomplish on this earth. If that is something that excites you, if that is something that exuberates you and gives you a plan, gives you a direction in your life, then I'm talking to you. Now, if you don't think you're that person, I have a deep revelation for you. You still are. God has never, ever made a mistake, never will. And you might be thinking, well, my parents told me I was a mistake, or my parents told me I was a surprise, or my grandparents told me that, my parents left me and I was in an orphanage and I got adopted, and so obviously, no, let me tell you this, you might have been a surprise to your parents. You might have been unplanned. You might have been any words you want to put on that, any debilitating lie that the enemy has tried to drill into you. If you try to apply that, let me tell you this, God was not surprised. Absolutely not. God knew the exact moment you were coming along. God has already counted all of your breaths. He's counted all of your tears. He knows exactly what your life was meant to be. And so you might have been a surprise to someone, but you were not a surprise to God. And because of that, God is a God of purpose. God is a God of destiny. If you don't believe me, look at the scriptures. He has literally ordained all of these incredible functions that our world goes through on a natural basis. The laws of science, the laws of nature, all of these things were preordained before they would ever come into being. And they work perfectly. Gravity always works. And in the same immutable way that gravity always works, he has placed inside of you a divine destiny. So I hope that you're convinced. I can spend a lot more time on that, and I have in the past, and I've actually spent so much time on it in ministering that I've actually had people get irritated and say, man, all you talk about is destiny, and you think that we all have to have a purpose. Well, I'm so thrilled by this, that God, in the billions of people, in the quadrillions of organisms and plants and all these things, God created me uniquely and special and gave me a purpose and a calling and graced me with the ability to do it and anointed me with the ability to do it and gave me revelation and understanding and then a bunch of experiences that solidified those truths in me. And so I'm telling you, this is something that gets gives my goosebumps duck bumps and gives my duck bumps goosebumps, And so I really hope that you get that. If not, call me, message me, get a hold of me. And man, I tell you what, I will exhort you until you tell me to shut up, that you embrace this truth, that you were created for a purpose, with a purpose, by a God of purpose, and he knows that you are called, created, purpose to change your world and the world. And so the first thing we need to understand about destiny is for you to really walk it out, you got to know what it is. Here are the three components to destiny. And I really hope that you're getting this. If you need to stop and take notes or pause this or something like that, you need to get these three things. These three things are absolutely imperative if you are going to be a person of divine destiny. Number one, what are you purposed? What are you destined to do? That is the number one most important aspect of a person of divine destiny. Number two, where are you called to do it? And this is just as important. These three components mixed together is the only way that you can bake this cake. Any one of these ingredients missing, and you're not going to have a cake. And the number three component is with whom. So what are you called to do? Where are you called to do it? And with whom are you called to do it with? So the first thing, let me tackle this real quick. The first thing, your divine destiny. And you might be sitting there thinking, okay, I embrace this message, Pastor. I embrace the idea that, yes, I was created by a purposeful God with a purpose. And I even believe that he's placed skills and talents and abilities and graces and anointings in my life in order for me to accomplish. But what is it? I don't know what it is. What do I need? Do I need to fill out a survey? Do I need to... And there's all kinds of junk out there that try to help you along this road. And I'm not saying that they're useless. I'm just going to give you like the nitty gritty. So I'm going to boil this down. This is going to be Divine Destiny 101 for idiots, I guess, because I'm not a smart guy. I've never been an intelligent guy. I've just always been a passionate guy. And so this is Divine Destiny for you, the average person. So here's the what. This is the best way. So I want you to really drill in on me. Listen to me. What do you hate? What above all things like boils your blood and just really you're willing to just jump on it like a chicken on a June bug anytime, and just what is that thing that just it gets in every part of who you are? What do you hate? And then what do you love? Like what? Man, just thinking about it for me just wrecks me. What do you love? What is of all the greatest value of all things in your life? And what is it just like makes your heart literally beat and pushes blood to every cell of your body? What do you love? What do you hate? And here's the what of your divine destiny right here. It's where they come together. It's what you hate. And it's what you love. And right in the center of that is where you'll find your destiny. You've got to hate something. You've got to hate. Love has a requirement to hate. And I know this message is not popular today, but it is so true. God hates sin. He doesn't hate sinners. He hates sin because sin kills people. It steals from people. It destroys lives. It destroys marriages. It destroys children. It destroys finances. It destroys physical health. It destroys mental health. And God hates anything that destroys, that hurts his children. And so hate has to be a part of this message. But love, if you have one without the other, you're going to be totally imbalanced, and your passion is not going to be driven from the heart of God. What do you love? What drives you? What motivates you? And I know that we're all going to give some really cool Christian answer like, I love God or I love people. Look, I get that. That's a requirement in the kingdom. Jesus says that this is the whole law and the prophets are summed up in this. Love God and love your neighbor. And so I get that's it. But I mean, drill that down just a little bit more. Like, what is it? Are you just drawn to the fact that people are being abused by our political system? Then maybe you're called there. Do you want to see people's lives changed through media, through education, through something like that? If you drill this down, what is your heart really drawn to? What can you do for the rest of your life, whether you're paid for it or not? I mean, you would be absolutely fulfilled doing these things. What do you hate? What do you see going on in our society, in our world, in your family, in your own children's lives? What do you see that you're ready to fight? Like white knuckle, like blood boiled, ready to fight against that. That is your what. You put those two things together, that's your what. And this is really important. And I'm telling you, I really want to be here for you. If this is something that you really want to get, that you're just tired, you're sick and tired of being sick and tired. You are tired of being regular, you're tired of being normal. God is not a God of normal. God is a God of the extraordinary. God is the God of more than enough. No one has ever been made normal. God's normal is extravagant, is over the top, is more than enough. And so you cannot be a normal person and die fulfilled. You can be a world changer. You can be a county changer, a city changer, a home changer. You can be any of those things, but you don't have permission by God just to be normal. God doesn't make that. God makes something that goes beyond your imagination, beyond what you can ask or think, according to Ephesians 3:20. And so you've been called with this incredible divine purpose. And your what, that first component of your divine destiny, is the what. If you don't have it, please call me, message me, email me, do something, reach out. Do not go another day. Please, I'm begging you and imploring you. Do not go another day until you at least start the process of drilling down and finding your what. I'll pray with you. We'll get God's heart. We'll get God's wisdom on this. Okay, component number 2. Where are you called to do it? Where are you called to do it? Listen, this is so important. If Steve Cassell planted a church, and I planted a church, and this I'm making this kind of personal to me, but you can use whatever dynamics you want to. If I would have planted Beloved Church in Texas, where I was prior to planting this church, I might have been doing my what, but I would not have been where God ordained me, purposed me, called me, anointed me, and gifted me to be. I would have been out of place. And it's just like a disjointed shoulder. If your arm's out of joint or something like that, yeah, you can still move it. You can still operate. You might even be able to write and do some things. But if it's out of socket, it's just not right. You might be wanting to do things in the right way, but it's just not happening. It's not. It doesn't have that glory on it that God puts on things that are positioned right and ordained right. God is a God of excellence. And so just doing any old thing, any old where, is not how God ordained this to be. And so being in the right place, and man, I cannot tell you how important this is. Being in the right place is so important because God has already spoken to an innumerable number of people, to an innumerable number of circumstances, and he has already preordained, predestined that those things come into alignment and that they are, kind of like the stage is set and all of the actors are on the scene and all the background workers are there and the sound people and the video people and the light people and everything. God has been working all these things for years and years and decades maybe to get everything in the right place, in the right position. And he's waiting for you to kind of bust through the curtain and come out, and then God's going to be like, pow! My man's here, my gal's here, and here we go, let's do this thing. And so the where is so incredibly important. And this was a part that I had to really wrestle with because I was just like, man, if I'm doing what I'm called to do, just do it anywhere, you'll be okay. And I realized real quickly that being disjointed, being out of place, I am never going to see the destiny, never going to die fulfilled because I needed to be where God ordained me to be. And then the third component, and man, I sound like every one of these is like the most important thing, but I'm telling you, they are the most important thing. Number 1's the most important. Number 2 is the most important. Number 3 is the most important. Who are you called to do it with? And I can't tell you, man, this one kind of wrecks me. I have to kind of compose here for a second because the people that are in my life, if they weren't there, man, I don't know what would have happened. I honestly don't know. And here's the thing. I know that there are people that are supposed to be there. I've seen it. I prophetically have seen it. I've seen it in the visions of my heart. I know there are people that are supposed to be there and they're not there yet. And they're not there yet. And it's like there's a piece missing. It's like there's a body part that's lost. And this is why the scriptures talk about it that way, that each of us are members in particular of the body of Christ, and we have to be joined together. The finger has to be connected to the hand. It has to be there, otherwise you are deformed. You're missing a part. You have to be with the whom that God has called you to be. And in today's world, this is just not popular. It's not popular. People do not choose churches based upon whether God has instructed them to be there. They choose it based upon what it looks like, or what it smells like, or what it sounds like, or how pretty the preacher is, or how anointed they are, or how short it is, or how long it is, or all of these ridiculous things that have zero to do with what God has said. If God calls you somewhere, it is an incredibly important aspect of your destiny. It is the third stool. It's the third leg on the stool that you can stand on your divine destiny. That third leg is being with whom you're called to be with. Now, here's the thing. When you know you're with whom you're called to be with, you realize that like strife ceases. Contention is so easily dealt with. Forgiveness is so easily dispensed because God's called you to be with them. And yeah, maybe they're irritating. Man, maybe they're aggravating. Listen, I get it. I am one of the most irritating people on the planet. I know. I'm married. I'm aware. I see the looks. I preach in front of people. I have close people in my life. I get it. I'm irritated. I'm irritating as a person. But that doesn't mean that I'm still not called and gifted and I have incredible things to offer the planet. And so the people that know that they're called to be with me, even some of my irritating things can actually turn into being maybe some likable characteristics. Like, Pastor Steve just tends to kind of be that way. And it's almost like my heart likes that. I love how funny he is. I'm just saying that because my staff always makes funny that I am the worst joke teller ever. But if you know I'm the worst joke teller ever, and you know that you're called to be with me, it's like the jokes are funnier. It's like, for some reason, Steve just got funnier. It's because your heart is connected to them. There are no lone rangers in the body of Christ. Beloved, please get this. You cannot accomplish what God has called you to do by yourself. There's no such thing. And I know you're probably going to reflect on some scriptures, Elijah and stuff like that. But Elijah had an Elisha. I'm telling you, you give me a scripture, you give me a person in the Bible, and I will show you the people that God ordained to be an intimate and powerful part of their lives. Man, I hope you get that. This is literally one of the messages of my soul, and I hope you get this. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. I love you more than I can express. God bless you, and I can't wait to see you again soon. Bye-bye.